Real quickly before I jump into the video, I want to let you guys know that my G Fuel code Espresso is 30% off right now until, I believe, this Tuesday. So if you guys want to check out a flavor for the first time or get a restock, whatever it may be, link is down there in the description below. That'll take you and pre-apply the code. So go out over to gfuel.com and use code Espresso for 30% off. It's an update week in Black Ops 4, and that means that for the first time in actually quite a bit of time, we have a decent amount of stuff specifically for Black Ops 4 to look out for. Some good, some not as good, but that said, still a lot of stuff to come along, and we're going to be breaking it all down here in this video. So with it being an update week, we're going to keep you guys up to date with all contents here, Black Ops 4 and everything that changed, and a lot of stuff following as well. So if you're new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Black Ops 4, and of course, also Modern Warfare content. We're going to pick that back up as well very shortly. But that said, let's jump into the 12 things to look out for in Black Ops 4 and elsewhere in Call of Duty this week. First things first, let's talk about what's up immediately here right now for Black Ops 4. It is the final day on the PlayStation 4 side. Xbox One and PC still have a week left after this, but it's the final day for the first split of Operation Apocalypse Z. So that means that if you take a look at on the PlayStation 4 side, the Contraband stream, whatever tier you'll be at, it'll showcase that you have less than a day to complete it. Even though the next operation isn't until next month, it just means we're rounding into the next split of this operation. Spectre Rising introduced this sort of half and half mentality where it's half up front, half a little bit later, and we saw with Days of Summer that was the case as well, and it's following in the shoes and footsteps of that model. So that means that anything you don't have up until tier 40 and afterwards, which is that ultra weapon bribe, will go away on the PlayStation 4 side as of tomorrow. So make sure you grind that out and get your last bit in that you may need, and make sure you take advantage of it before it goes away. That also means that it's the final day for current adjustments. My hopeful guess is a slight adjustment for the map and Blackout that I'm referring to there. It's the final day for things like the starter pack that, again, would be my guess refreshing out tomorrow with a new one, but it's your last chance for, say, that Danny Trejo Blackout skin. The shop and other items shouldn't refresh, but instead carry over. We may see a glitch like we saw before, in which with the start of Days of Summer, they did go away, but then came back a day later after a playlist refresh, seemingly removing them and replacing them by error instead of just adding the next week's items to the shop. But I'd imagine that you, of course, still have those as of tomorrow. So all that kind of stuff for the first split of Operation Apocalypse Z is coming to a close as of tomorrow. So today is your last chance to really take advantage of any of that you may have to complete still. Outside of that, tomorrow, rounding into this now, is that we'll get update 1.22. If we're going with recent update standards, it should be about 10 to 12 gigabytes worth of data to download and install coming to PlayStation 4 and Xbox One tomorrow. Though Xbox is a week behind schedule, it'll act as a time gate so you can jump in immediately and not have to race to download to play before 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, like PlayStation 4 usually has to do, and it should be coming to PC on Thursday for the same time-gated nature. But PC's updates are usually a little bit behind schedule as is, so Thursday's that day to look out for that one. Now, just for a little clarity, because I always get questions asked about this, and truthfully it's something that I always wonder about as well, is that whenever we have to go and download those 12 gigabytes of the update, why does it take so long to copy? Why do we have to wait another hour afterwards? I still don't understand it entirely, and I'm no game engineer or hardware engineer to totally validate this, but I heard that the one talking point is that it's because the PlayStation 4 and other hardware reinstalls the entirety of Black Ops 4 or whatever game has an update instead of just installing that extension data. So with Black Ops 4 as of today, not even tomorrow's update, being already 108 gigabytes in size, you're installing 108 gigabytes of data on your hard drive and not just the 10 to 12 gigabytes that are introduced as of tomorrow, which is pretty dumb if you ask me, and here's the hoping that next gen consoles don't have that kind of stuff. But along with update 1.22 then brings the new Operation Split, which surprisingly we still have almost no information on. We have no idea the naming of this little mini event within the operation. I was really expecting at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time today to get a teaser. We saw one that says the infection spreads on August 6th a couple of days ago from Treyarch, but nothing more outside of that, which was kind of curious, and I really expected a little more of today. But this will bring with it a whole lot of stuff, some free, some not, but let's break it down a little bit further. The first thing that'll come with this is a new set of tiers, presumably another 40 tiers if I were to guess. I'm not expecting this to go back up to 50 or maybe even 60 to even out to on the operation total be 100, but instead kind of follow the same exact copy and paste mentality of format, not necessarily what's given. But the unfortunate part is that I'm not really also expecting all that much comparably outside of what we saw already. We saw that we had a Mastercraft. I'd be all for getting another Mastercraft or another reactive camo or something like that, or maybe even more than just one of these tiers. But I'm really not expecting any of the new weapons to be added into the tiers as well. As much as I would love for that to happen, I just don't really see it happening. Probably again at that final tier, whether that be 40, 50, or 60, my guess being 40, is another ultra weapon bribe to allow you to have the chance of getting one of those weapons that you do not have. And if you do have all the ranged weapons already, it will then throw in then a Mark II weapon, but it prioritizes those ranged weapons before anything else. But still, you're grinding all those hours just for a chance. And alongside that, as we mentioned, the next thing to look out for, number 5 here, is that of new weaponry as is. We know of 3 new weapons coming to the game, most likely in reserves is my guess, but we have the M16, which was seen in the trailer and also data mined. We have the Javelina AA-50 sniper rifle, which is, again, from the trailer and was data mined. And we have the full stop melee weapon, which could go one of 2 different ways. Again, I don't see this one being in reserves because it seems like only the ranged weapons are in reserves, but this one I would imagine is either in the tiers or is something that's sold like we saw with the backhander melee later on in the operations update, but it will be added into the game files as of tomorrow. And unfortunately, along with new weapons and new content dumps like this, you know that there's going to be new reserve content added in. Now, as for how much will be added in, we seem to see a pattern of roughly 200 new items added in every single operation split or every single major content dump, not just necessarily operation anymore, because it's now happening more frequently, but that would bring the rough total up if we add just an estimation of 200 items onto this total, over 1,500 items in the reserve loot pool, making that chance that you get everything tremendously slim. So that's something that will be added in tomorrow. As you guys know my stance on it, I am not fond of that at all, but it will be happening. Talking about something that kind of seems like a crazy impossibility at this point in some regards, let's talk about some free content updates here for Black Ops 4, because we're going to be starting off tomorrow with what may very well be another map alteration that is a free addition here and added into the rotations, though it might not be necessarily new per se of an entire new map. It's a new alteration that we haven't played on in that exact capacity. We know that Jungle Flooded is coming in season, and what better way to add it in than add it in with the next major title update, which just so happens to be tomorrow. So I'd expect that one to come. If I'm thinking about how this is laid out, how it's formatted, I would imagine that entire rice field and lower ravine is not necessarily filled to the brim with swimming water, but very similar to how the Blackout Wetworks update worked, was where it was just enough water where you'd splash around walking and give away a little bit more audibly where you were. But outside of that, I would imagine it's just maybe a raining sequence environmentally, and then everything else rather untouched. But that looks to be coming this week as well. Outside of that, we're going to get a bunch of new modes across, well, everything. We end up seeing that in MP in particular, we have Party Game Mosh Pit coming through the season at some points. Infected is coming through the season at some point, and additional game modes are being added in as well. So one of those is definitely going to lead off tomorrow. I would imagine Party Game Mosh Pit, because that's kind of the other bigger thing that was a focal point and talking point from Treyarch whenever they were going into Operation Apocalypse Z, with that pre-operation live stream debuting everything that would be coming and all things alike. So I'd guess that Party Game Mosh Pit makes its introduction as of tomorrow as well, but those other ones are still up for contention also. Switching over to Blackout now, and still kind of staying on that 8th topic of modes, we're going to see Pandemic added into Blackout as well. This was again that mode that was teased from Treyarch a couple of days ago, in which it looks to be almost like a turned or infected style mode, but in Blackout. And so I'm very curious to see how this will play out. We have very minimal information on it as of the time of recording this, so I'm definitely interested in learning more about what's going to be coming here, how it's going to play, and I'm certainly excited to jump in tomorrow to try it out. Now, whether or not I'll like it or not, that's a different question. I thought I'd like Bounty Hunter a lot more than I did, and I played that maybe 3 matches total that entire time it was around. But that said, here's the hoping. In Blackout, other things that are coming as well include new Blackout characters. We know of one for sure that will be coming, that being Ted, the bus driver from Transit, who, funnily enough, this time around has a lower body. He was always mechanically positioned, so he didn't have legs or anything like that, so he'll be a full-blown model with that one. Others could be coming as well, but we just don't have any information on them. We know of Ted because he was actually on the official website for Black Ops 4 and Operation Apocalypse Z's webpage at one point, and then was taken down, but if others are being added in, we don't exactly know just yet. Outside of that, we also know there's going to be a new vehicle in Blackout. This one, not necessarily as heavily fortified or anything crazy like we've seen in the past with the attack helicopter, with the armored boat, and with the ARAV. This one is just a motorcycle vehicle and a sidecar, so pretty much acting as if an ATV would to accommodate 2 players rather than the 4 that you get with the SUVs and the muscle cars and ARAVs and helicopters and things like that as well. So that'll that'll be interesting to see how that one plays out, if it's something of a fan favorite or if it's something players don't really interact with. And then outside of Blackout, we see one thing for zombies, unfortunately, that is kind of the standout thing. Of course, you'll have some technical stuff like Mark II support and other new weapons added into the box, but the bigger one here out of this is a new gauntlet for Alpha Omega called Duck and Cover. This is going to be another 30-round series of challenges in which it will task you to do specific things, and depending on the difficulty, reward you with different things as well, though I think that it's still only all calling cards, even if you end up doing the toughest difficulty along with it. So here's the hoping that one turns out well. But Alpha Omega, I said it before, I really enjoyed gameplay wise. I'm a casual zombies player in Black Ops 4, was a hardcore player back in Black Ops 3 and before, but for Black Ops 4 just haven't had as much time, so I really do enjoy Alpha Omega, so I'm looking forward to trying that one out and getting some hands on with that as well. But the only other thing outside of Black Ops 4 that I end up seeing happening this week is maybe, just maybe, some campaign gameplay for Modern Warfare. It'd be a great way to continue and capitalize off the hype of the multiplayer reveal, but it's also something that we don't have confirmed, and I also don't know if I would expect, because it is a new operation split for Black Ops 4. So I don't know if that would be a marketing crossover thing that would be smart, if it would be disadvantageous, and it would hinder the ability for one game to flourish and have the limelight that it's supposed to. So your guess is as good as mine, but it has been said multiple times that Infinity Ward developers are close to ready to sharing gameplay for campaign, and what we were shown off in May at our little press event that we had. So excited to see that come, but as for the timing, who knows? I'd love to see it this week, but that's just something of a little bit of speculation. But all that said and out of the way, that is everything to look out for here in Black Ops 4 and elsewhere in Call of Duty. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Is there anything in particular that you're looking forward to? Anything that we may have missed here out of this, or anything you want to add onto the list? Whatever it may be, feel free to let me know your thoughts. But hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to drop a like down below, and of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Black Ops 4 and all things Call of Duty. Updates, news, information, tips, tricks, all that good stuff. We got you covered. So if any of that interests you, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing. If you guys also want to follow me over on Twitter and Instagram, those are the best place to get connected outside of YouTube. Practically live on both those. If you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, that link is down there in the description below. But let's end out the way. Thank you guys all so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.